Hello there. Today I'm going to talk a bit about the Metta Bhavana, and then on a separate video we'll do the Metta Bhavana together. So first, a few things about the Metta Bhavana, the practice of loving kindness. So yes, as the Beatles song famously said, all you need is love. And I think we know that that's really true. That is all we need. Wouldn't the world be a better place if there was more love? Love for each other, love for the world, love for everything. But that's easier said than done, isn't it? And that is because we're riddled with preferences. As soon as we open our eyes, as soon as we look at the world, and especially as soon as we see other people, we have preferences, strong ones. We like people or we don't like them. And it's often based, our preferences, on very little evidence. But how do we actually allow ourselves to be more loving? It's an interesting question. And when I first came to Buddhism, I must admit that I was pretty cynical about the Metta Bhavana. I thought, how can you force love? You can't force it. It seemed to me a bit kind of, I suppose, a bit new agey in some way. But then after doing the practice, even for some months, I realised that actually it does have an effect. And that's because we learn to listen to ourselves more deeply. We learn to listen to the quiet voice of our emotional life, which gets taken over a lot of the time by our thoughts. So our thoughts, our thinking is very loud. We've got concepts, ideas, messages that we've given ourselves, and they occur to us, quite loudly in words. Whereas our emotional life has a different sort of voice, and it's one that needs listening to much more deeply, in the body particularly. So our body tells us a lot about how we are, and a lot of the time we ignore it. And that's why a lot of the time we end up not very healthy. Maybe we end up eating the wrong sorts of foods, not getting enough exercise, or really slouching in the way we sit, or walking in a very apologetic way, as if we don't really want people to see us. So our body is very affected by our mind. And so in the Metta Bhavana, we are learning how to turn towards our experience and find out more about ourselves and about our emotional life. So in the Metta Bhavana practice, we often talk about focusing on the heart area. And I think it's important to say a bit about what that means, or it can be very mysterious or confusing. So we have a physical heart, and it might be that around the middle of our chest, where the heart is situated, that we do feel a sense of our emotions, maybe anger, or longing, love, desire, sadness. Could be all sorts of things. But maybe it isn't around the physical heart. It might be somewhere completely different. For example, our belly. Our belly is very sensitive. It holds a lot of tension. So we can explore in our body, where actually do we feel emotions? It might be different emotions in different places. Another place that we experience emotions is in our throats. And our throat may feel tight and restricted when we're feeling quite emotional. Or it might be that we hold emotions in our shoulders or our back. So we shouldn't take for granted that our heart area is necessarily around the physical heart. So it's worth exploring a bit. So sometimes we're asked to rest in our heart space. Rest in our heart space. What does that mean? It means, first of all, exploring our body. Where can we experience emotions? Maybe there's not a particular emotion around for you today, and, maybe we don't find it immediately. But what is the sort of tone, the internal weather like? Are we sad? Are we happy? Are we excited? Are we joyful? Are we depressed? The important thing about the Metta Bhavana is that although it is cultivating loving kindness in some mysterious way, which we'll look into when we do the practice, you haven't actually got to be in any particular emotional state to do it. And that is because it's a meditation about our motivation. It's about intention. So I'm sure that all of us would love it if the world was a place where everybody loved each other. I mean, yeah, maybe it is a big dream. Maybe we know that's not going to happen in our lifetime. But actually, the more loving that we are, the more open we are, the less defended we are, the more that we attract love. I know for myself that this is definitely true. So let's say you wake up in a grumpy mood and you go out to the shops, you've got to do some shopping, and you feel pretty crap. And basically, your face shows that. You're shut down. You're not engaging very well with the world, perhaps. Perhaps you don't look at people and you certainly don't smile at them. And what does it attract? It attracts something similar from other people. Whereas when we're undefended and open, when we're available to people, when we're kind of, how's your morning, not have a nice day, but, just genuinely being interested without a kind of set throwaway line. When we're genuinely open to people, they're open to us. So by doing the Metta Bhavana, by doing this practice of loving kindness and becoming more open, we affect the world. We certainly affect our world, but we affect other people's world as well. So in the Metta Bhavana, the most important thing is that we start from where we are. We're not trying to pretend that we're happy when we're not happy. We're not trying to pretend to be anything. We're wanting to know how to listen to ourselves, how to listen deeply, how to be a friend to ourselves, a loving friend. So I'll leave this one there and we'll do the Metta Bhavana.